Hello everybody and welcome to this video. The day has come, the 1-year anniversary of Bannerlord being released is today, and I wanted to make a special video series showcasing how the game has grown from update to update. In this video series, we will be going over every patch from the day 1 hotfix to the current 1.5.9 beta. That being said, there has been over 100 plus patches in this 1 year period. This is including hotfixes and major updates. So I will spend more time on major updates and skip over a lot of the hotfixes since a majority of them are bug fixes. However, I will still show them on the screen and I will give you a quick statement about each one. This will also be a 2-part series. This video will be part 1, which will cover half of the development, and part 2 will cover the other half until the current beta of 1.5.9. Also, before I start, I am going to link a very good list made by the devs showcasing all their patches and links to each patch. If you wish to see any specific patch I mention, link to that list will be down below. Alrighty, let's go. So first, on March 30th, 2020, Bannerlord was released. On the same day, we received our first hotfix. This only really contained crash fixes. Number 2. The next day, we received patch 1.0.1. This contained mainly more crash fixes, but also included the ability to make peace through barter and cap daily workshop income at 200 because workshops were producing very good income. For example, the wood workshop was at the number 1 at that list, producing 20,000 dinars daily, which was obviously broken. Then on April 1st, we received patch 1.0.2. This contained a lot of more crash fixes and bug fixes and some minor changes to probability such as clan defection rates and sally out probabilities. And also the smithy and wood workshop were patched and the workshop limit was gone. Now before we move on, April was very busy and we got a lot of patches almost every single day, and this is one of the main reasons why you see a lot of complaints from players nowadays saying that Bannerlord development has slowed down since the beginning of the game. But in reality, the game was just released, so everyone on the dev team was on deck to make a lot of quick changes and, obviously improve the game really quickly because this is when it had the most steam, and that's just how most games work. Next, we received patch 1.0.3 on April 2nd, which is just a singular save system change. Next day, on April 3rd, we received 1.0.4, which like always had crash and bug fixes, which I am now going to stop mentioning unless they are significant, but every patch from now on will always have a list of bug and crash fixes that you can go check out, which are always appreciated in my opinion. Also, as the patches roll out, performance improvements are also being made, and you can definitely feel it if you've been playing from the start of the game until now. Also, this patch had the start of ongoing snowball changes that we still see to this day. This being AI lords using their financials more effectively and using garrison troops instead of just recruiting all the time. Lastly, this patch reintroduced 200 items into the game, such as helmets, armors, weapons, and etc. Now on to the 4th of April, we have patch 1.0.5, which had a couple more snowballing changes, such as AI lords choosing better wars based on location, and AI defection is based on reputation and past decisions of player and AI. Now, day 5, we received a small hotfix for a common crash due to archer behavior in sieges and battles. Now on to April 6th, we received patch 1.0.6, which had perk improvements. Combat skill experience can now be earned in arena, and charm can be earned during barters. Archers and crossbows were nerfed slightly, and the most powerful weapon in the game was nerfed in terms of accuracy. By the way, that weapon is the stone or the rock that looters use, and they devastated any enemy they came against. They still do, but before this update they had about 99% accuracy. It was something very ridiculous. Now before we move on, the current state of perks as of 1.0.6 is most of them don't really work at all, and some of them aren't working as intended. Now as we go through these patches, I will let you know of perk improvements, and as you've seen in some of my more recent videos, perks are almost done, but this is kind of the start of when perks were starting to get worked on. Now on to April 7th, we have patch 1.0.7, and it includes various changes such as trade perk nerfs, combat experience balance, some hard caps on loot such as battle loot being capped at 10k per lord in each battle that you have or siege. Horses drop rate went down 65%, and tournament bet amount was down from 300 to 150, but you had a better max odds. Also, further snowballing changes such as lords with money acting like they have money and buying more horses when they can, and if an AI owns a settlement, they will not join as mercenaries anymore, but become vassals always. Next, on April 8th, we have patch 1.0.8, which now gives the player the ability to hire mercenaries, dynamic payments to mercenaries based on the asking kingdom strength, and mercenaries will now wait on better offers from other kingdoms and also at the start of the game. Next, we have another day, another patch. On April 9th, we did receive patch 1.0.9, and now bandits will surrender if they are outnumbered by a lot. Not always, but more likely than not. And AI lords can now trade items in towns if they have been very successful and they are carrying a lot of items. Now on to April 10th, we have patch 1.0.10, which includes just crash and bug fixes. Now, onto our first big major patch and an introduction to beta patches. So beta patches allow the game to be played in two ways. You can choose the safer and more stable version of the game, aka the live version, or a more unstable version that has new additions to gameplay, aka the beta version. After this beta system is introduced, most of the hotfixes that will be covered are two hotfixes in one for the beta and one for the live. They usually release on the same day and have identical changes, with some additional changes usually being added to the beta patch. Now onto the first major beta. We received beta patch 1.1.0 on April 11th. Again, major patches have a lot of changes. I'm going to go over the major changes. Like I said before, feel free to look up the patch and get access to all the changes. Okay, so first, level 1 characters now start with 120 skill points that are pretty much based on what you choose in the beginning of the game. Skill levels are easier to reach with less experience needed, and companions can now be leveled up a lot quicker. Armor prices went up and range prices went down. Hero creation was improved in terms of textures, lighting, and more. This impacts the player and also how AI lords and troops look as well, much more crisp. Also, there are minor changes to multiplayer, but we will see better changes in future updates. Next, on April 13th, we received patch 1.0.11 and a new beta hotfix. Both are mainly just crash and bug fixes. Then on April 16th, we received the next major beta patch 1.2.0, and 1.1.0 has moved to the live patch. First in this beta, some good performance changes with VRAM or video RAM was reduced, which improves memory leaks, and also GPU usage was reduced as well. Battle loot can now come with a modifier such as broken or splintered to balance how much value you receive from loot. Companions are now cheaper but have cheaper items. Higher tier armors are now produced in towns and can be found in the marketplace, but they are very rare. Also, a lot of quest changes and fixes. This will also become a constant ongoing change in all major patches. And also on top of that, CPU performance boosts for both multiplayer and single player. Next, on April 17th, we received patch 1.1.1 and a new beta hotfix. The main takeaway is caravans will now sell prisoners if they are captured in battles, and AI combat has been improved. Then on April 20th, we received patch 1.1.2 and another beta hotfix. This included more AI combat improvements such as better shield usage, and also pregnancy chances were lowered. Now on April 24th, we received the next major beta patch 1.3.0, and 1.2.0 was moved to the live patch. In the live patch, we received a lot of troop balance changes that are mainly to do with multiplayer. On the beta, we received a lot. First, pregnancy has been increased if you have a low amount of children, 1 or 2. Companions now have a wage that the player must pay. Lord parties recruit and level more of their troops. It used to be 80% recruit parties. Pretty much 80% of the parties were all recruits, and now they should be a lot better. Better AI Lord party management with prisoners, and if an AI Lord is caught and imprisoned, the time they spend in both settlement and in a party are increased. Also, clans have better money management and will raid more if they are poor. Overall, armies and parties will make better decisions when they are low on food or have a lot of wounded troops. They will visit towns more frequently. Players can now trade with caravans for a cheaper price, and players can set up a better caravan for 22,500 dinars that will have better guards and better equipment than the original 15,000 dinar option. Then on the following day, on April 25th, we received patch 1.2.1 and a new beta hotfix. In this beta hotfix, we received a few changes to peace declarations, a 25-day truce timer, and better AI decision when making or declaring war based on the amount of wars already declared and their strength. Now moving on to May 7th, we received a new beta patch 1.4.0 and a 1.3.0 moved to live. Sieges, raids, and battles can now be seen on the map as icons. There was 15 one-handed skill perks that were added, and companions will now gain trade experience while leading a caravan. Influence was nerfed very hard in terms of policy changes. Influence gained by donate prisoners was reduced by 95%, and town projects were made a little bit weaker. Some were balanced, but overall a little bit weaker. New quest called Army Needs Supplies was added, and a lot of other quest changes as usual. Next, we have patch 1.3.1 and a new beta hotfix on May 8th. This addressed a lot of multiplayer crash and server issues, and also made AI lords smarter when it comes to food management. Now on to May 14th, we have beta patch 1.4.1 and 1.4.0 was moved to live. First in this patch, we received 3 new music tracks and also some minor updates to the music tracks already in the game. We also got a lot of perk changes in terms of charm, leadership, two-handed, trade, and medicine. There was 160 plus ladies added to the game and also male characters. And AI lords can now marry after the age of 45. Also, AI lords will be smarter and buy food from neutral towns and villages instead of just the ones in their kingdom. War and peace decisions and support for these decisions can now be seen on the diplomacy screen, and players can create their own kingdom without the main story if they are clan tier 4 and own a fief, also known as the sandbox kingdom creation mode. New team deathmatch map was added for multiplayer called Sagan Castle. I probably got that wrong, it is what it is. And match history and friends tab were added to the multiplayer client. Then on May 28th, we received a quick hotfix for 1.4.0, and it just really only had crash fixes. Next, on June 4th, we received beta 1.4.2 and 1.4.1 was moved to live. The number of autosaves was increased to 3, so you can reload your game better and have more options on what save files you want to choose. And also, save files were optimized by their compression of almost 80%. The clan screen was redone in terms of UI and provides a lot more information about fiefs, family members, parties, and workshops. The polearm skill tree was redone, and charm, leadership, trade, and medicine perks were improved further, with minor changes to other skill trees as well. New quests called Scout Enemy Garrison is added, and further quest changes are made. Also, conversation screens were redone and are now a lot more crisp and show the characters more clearly as we see them today. Then we received 4 hotfixes for both the live and beta patch from June 5th to July 1st. They mainly included bug and crash fixes with some minor multiplayer changes like siege warm-up time being decreased and the ability to add friends with Bannerlord ID. And that will pretty much do it for part 1. We will start part 2 with the beta patch 1.4.3 and go up until beta patch 1.5.9 that we are currently on. Also, before I end, I did start a Patreon, and it's nothing crazy. I'm using it for basic support. There's no paywalling or anything like that, but if you do want to support what I do further, I do appreciate if you go to that. And also, I have a Discord. We have a good growing community. You guys can join that and chat about whatever you would like. And hopefully this video was informative, and like always, stay safe.